We often think of ghost stories and celebrating being scared as a Halloween tradition, but for thousands of years, people celebrated the midwinter or the solstice as the time of year where the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. Midwinter observances often included ghost stories, evergreens, holly, Yule logs, and special fires, emphasizing eternal life in the middle of the death and chaos that the winter often brought. Some peoples actually thought that the light and an associated god was dying or sick on solstice night and would come back to life or back to health the next day. Though midwinter traditions changed, the oral tradition of storytelling and ghost stories remained, especially in the colder climates. What did this look like for Victorians? Well, Christmas time wasn't a big deal in England and the United States because of religious suppression and the Industrial Revolution. Most people celebrated the 12 days of Christmas, and gift-giving really wasn't that much of a big deal. It saw a major resurgence and transformation under Queen Victoria as her husband's German Christmas practices were brought to England. Christmas trees, gift-giving, family togetherness, and of course ghost stories became popular in the mainstream.
Magazines and periodicals started printing ghost stories around Christmas time, bringing the oral tradition to the papers and popularizing it. Victorians oftentimes told ghost stories on Christmas Eve that featured ghostly figures, creepy hallways, escaped lunatics, witches, fairies, and even instruments and objects that moved on their own. The stories were a perfect merging of the popular spiritualism, science, and cheap fiction of the day.
The most famous ghost story was A Christmas Ghost Story, renamed A Christmas Carol, and was printed in 1843 in serial form, and it was by Charles Dickens. In the story, there are a lot of creepy elements and things moving on its own, but the focus are 4 different phantoms that haunt Ebenezer Scrooge and scare him straight. If you are looking to renew this fun practice for yourself, other stories you might want to check out are The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell, The Signal Man by Charles Dickens, The Open Door by Charlotte Riddell, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, and of course, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, which is set in the bleak December. What do you think of ghost storytelling this time of year? Do you have any ghost stories to tell? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next week.